What's up, everybody? Back today to talk about Don't Breathe, the newest film from Fede Alvarez, and he's the same guy that directed Evil Dead, the sort of reboot of the Sam Raimi films. And I like that film. I know a lot of people had mixed emotions about it, but I liked it. I thought it was gory and intense, and this film is definitely intense, not so gory. So if you haven't seen the trailer, it's about these three sort of punks, a girl and two guys, and they break into this blind guy's house because he's supposed to be having a lot of cash on hand. And it turns out, he might be blind, but he's pretty freaking dangerous, and he winds up trapping them in this house, and it becomes this entire cat and mouse game. Of course, the blind guy's played by Stephen Lang, and that takes me to the good and bad things. First of all, Stephen Lang is like perfect for this role because he's 60 years old, buff as hell, and he does look like a war veteran or something. And that's kind of the plot here of his character, is that he's a war veteran. And these guys, the three people, they're punks, are breaking these houses. They're basically taking easy marks, and they bust in there thinking it's going to be easy. And he's like the perfect guy. He kind of looks frail and haggard, but then he starts beating the crap out of them and stuff and trying to stalk and kill them. So he's just really good. I mean, you've seen him in things like Avatar, and if you liked Avatar, he's going to be in the second, the third, and the fourth one, so he keeps regenerating or something or whatever. Apparently he's not going to die, so if you like him, Avatar's the one for you. But yeah, he was definitely good in this film. And like I said, the film is intense. I liked it. It was R-rated, which is nice. The only other, I think, good R-rated horror movie we actually got in the theater this year was The Witch, at least off the top of my head. But I like that they were checking the ID before we walked in the door, and I was kind of wondering why, and at the end I pretty much figured out why they had checked the IDs. And it's not really because of the gore, but there is this really kind of weird so I appreciated the intensity. I appreciated that they kept it in the film and they didn't edit it down to a PG-13, which they probably could have if they really wanted to. And then, of course, the use of the Detroit setting. The film takes place in Detroit, and, I heard one person in the background saying, how come there's no neighbors? And it's like, of course you need to know a little bit about Detroit, the economic downturn they've taken. And I was just watching a documentary the other day, they actually do have empty neighborhoods. So it kind of plays into Stephen Lang, trapping them there and being able to make all this racket. And, even though it's inner city, it creates the effect of him being in a rural area. Although maybe a little far-fetched that it was, nobody noticed anything going on. And last but not least, I thought the dog was kind of a cool addition to the whole movie. But then on some things, it winded up kind of disappearing, and I was like, why didn't he grab the dog, or why isn't the dog in this part? And I was trying to figure out, is it trapped someplace or whatever? So that kind of takes me to the bad things. The movie is good, believe me. It's worth your time. It's worth watching. Fun movie, but there are some bad things, and I think you just got to mention them. So like I said about the dog, I kind of got confused at all points where the dog was, and he definitely should have been around at the end of the film, but for some reason, the character decided not to do something, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then the whole movie overall is just kind of, it's really intense, and it's really serious, but it's kind of over the top, and it's almost like, really? They can't, trick this blind guy? They're that scared of him? And, I mean, he's a scary guy, but it was just kind of like really intense, serious film, and like I said, it almost was touching on that over-the-topness a little bit. Not that this is really, a bad thing, but there are a few things like, why did the kids take off the shoes when they broke in the house? I know why, they were trying to be quiet, right? But you're breaking into a foreign area, it's dark, you don't even know where you're stepping. What happens if you step on something, or not very smart? I mean, just walk quietly or wear shoes that are, more akin for silence or something like that. Use that ninja training, try to be a little quiet. And then there's a scene where they get trapped by Stephen Lang in this room, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but they check one of the windows and there's bars. And then a second later, someone gets pushed out a window. And I'm like, what? I was just like, I thought that was kind of weird. Maybe I missed something, that I didn't catch something, whatever, which is possible because I was tired, but that was weird. That's something I always wonder about until I see it again, at least. And then the end, it was a little bit, didn't really bug me, but when I was, looking to make sure, Stephen Lang was named Stephen Lang basically on IMDb right before I made this video, I was looking at a person complaining about the end online, his comments, and it was kind of funny because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, and it's another thing, I don't want to go into spoilers, but I was like, man, that sure seemed to work out pretty cleanly. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to hear what you guys thought of the end down below. Go ahead and comment. Overall, I'm going to give Don't Breathe a 4 out of 5. Great movie to watch in the theater because it's just once it starts going, it just goes. It's well worth the price of admission. Like I said, support the R-rated sort of horror movie. It's not really a horror movie. It is more like a thriller. That's another thing I probably should say. But, you know, there's enough horror in it, let's put it that way. Some of the kill scenes are pretty freaking intense, the way they show it, like in slow-mo. I thought that was pretty freaking cool. That's another thing I'll say. And so, tell me what you thought of Don't Breathe down below, and I'll see you guys soon.